What's up, folks? What the hell is up? Anywho, welcome. So yeah, Mm. This is a rig we're gonna be trying to. I'm trying to get wire to. Hey, Glacier, what's up? This, but with stainless steel wire, is how I'll be connecting my hooks in the future. Because this is 19 strands stainless steel cable. Like it's really stiff stuff. It does not want to bend at all. And it's going to make the hook hard to rotate properly. But with this version, with this kind of attaching it, better than a snell, better than a crimp, better than anything, it always wants to turn just right. It always wants to turn prop in the right direction. So I will, in the future, all my circle hooks will be attached like that. Yeah, I had this is 2 millimeter. I don't know what that would be in inches. But yeah, this is 2 millimeter. This is the lightest cable I would use for big sharks. 2 millimeter, 19 strand IC 316. So the lightest cable I'll use for big sharks has advantage that it's individual strands are still pretty thin. But I also get some 2 millimeter, maybe yeah, from 2.5 millimeter. I don't know if I go to 3 millimeter. Probably not. But anyway, that's my main line for commercial salmon trawling. Interesting. You don't use the 49 strand. Well, probably cheaper that way. It is just a money thing, right? Or is there another reason why you use 19 strand only? Or is it because it's really smooth on the surface? Because I know the surface is smoother than on pretty much any other cable. You can't really get smoother than 19 strand. I'm not your 3D, but sure. Hi. Here we have 3 millimeter 7 strand, which is definitely, or is this 2.5, which is definitely overkill. But yeah, it's safe. I looked it up. Oh, okay, so it's the same thickness. It's also 2 millimeter. That's interesting. It could be, yeah, but this stuff is just too stiff. You can't really work this stuff. I don't think I'll ever be using this as a leader. Yeah, and I honestly think more than 2.5 millimeter, or even in 19 strand, I won't do that. But I will get me some 2.5 millimeter 19 strand and some 3.5 millimeter 49 strand. And I might actually have some 3.5 or even 4 millimeter 19 strand. I think 4 millimeter. 4 millimeter 49 strand, which I will put to the test. If it is fit, if it's still thin enough to use with the 6 circle. Because if I can't, because basically, with shark leaders, you want to go as thick as possible for the bite section while it's still working. 3 millimeter is just fine if you use the right connection. But I think you can go up to 3.5. I'm not sure if you can go up to 4 millimeter. The 3.5 is going to be fine, maybe even 4 millimeter. If 4 millimeter is still fine, then holy crap. Then That's if the fish aren't picky, that's the way to go. I use it because it won't break when king, not easily. Yeah, but doesn't the 49 strand have the same advantage or even better? But yeah, that is also why I like it for shark fishing. Because for shark fishing, you know, generally you want each individual strand to be as thick as possible. For shark leaders, we don't really care about the tensile strength. How much, how many pounds the cable breaks at is almost, it almost doesn't matter at all. Like it hardly matters because you're basically never going to break cable in shark fishing because it's too weak, at least not on the bite section. It just doesn't really matter because any cable you would use is strong enough, but you need something that the sharks cannot chew through, which is why individual strand thickness is important. But of course, the more high Gemini, yes, we want each strand to be thicker. Each little wire should be thicker. Hmm. This is one of my old Snell hooks. I might or might not redo this. Actually, I think I will redo this because if I hold it like this, it doesn't really turn all that well. It only turns properly in one direction. So I think I might need to redo this section. Yeah, I can do better than this. I can do better than this. Because this is a very shallow hookup. This would be a hookup where you would pull a hook. And that shouldn't happen with 2.5 millimeter 49 strand and a 16.0 circle hook. So we'll be killing this leader. I use, oh, I want what to be thicker. Individual strands on my cable. But we need enough strands so it doesn't kink easily and breaks. So 7 strand is okay, but 7 strand has a tendency to break once it's kinked. 19 strand doesn't really break when it's kinked, but it does kink up a lot, and you'll have to replace it because it's just going to be a whole mess. 49 strand, even once you get to like 2 millimeters and above, doesn't really kick hardly at all. Especially in the thinner diameters, 133 strand or even higher stranded material is really where it's at. That stuff is almost impossible to kink. While of the lighter diameters, 49 strand kinks really easy. But for shark fishing, you don't really want to go below 40, want to go above 49 strand unless it's for a rubbing leader. So rubbing section can absolutely be 133 strand. Because the shark will almost never get that in its mouth. And even when they do, they don't really get it in their mouth under a lot of tension. So yeah. And because the rubbing leader is also thinner, that's where you want the kink resistance of the 133 resistance of the 133 strand. Anyway, I did it so well, this leader, that it's a pain to undo. But that's fine. Anyway. I'll still get it done. And whenever I work directly on metal, hey there, John. John Cena. Sorry. That's just too, with your name, that's just too easy to do. Yeah, I'm off from snelling hooks, at least on shark leaders. I won't be snelling my hooks onto cable anymore because there's a better way. There is a better way. You need an additional tool for it, but there is a better way. But yeah, is there a reason for you, Glacier Shark, to not go with the 49 strand cable? Because I mean, I know it might be a little more expensive, but then again, 49 strand is so much more common that it shouldn't be a big difference because it's the most widely used cable usually. But maybe where you are, there is a significant price difference. In that case, I understand. Other than cost, I don't really see a reason why not to go with a softer and more kink resistant 49 strand. Anyway, here we have a hook that this part is still coated in plastic, and this part will be coated again once it's rigged up. And here we have some 2.5 millimeter cable, which with our proper connection, I would do this on a 14-0, sorry, on an 18-0 catch-all tackle hooks. The reason I confused 18 and yeah, my commercial gear specifically made stainless and it has markers on it. Okay, so it would be more expensive gear. I mean, this is also stainless. This is IC316. Like, of course, there's better steels, but it's like the highest grade that you can still find easily in steel cables. Any higher grade stainless steel you'll almost never find made into a cable. So out of the ones that you realistically are gonna find, this would be the cheapest. For shark, I just use 7 strand, maybe 10 and then 10 feet, then the major single strand in a haywire twist. I used to fish maker sharks on the East Coast for sport. Yeah. My problem is kink offs, and it depends on some situations. Actually, for makos, in open water, I can absolutely see that being a good idea because you want something thin and not easily visible. For most shark fishing, it doesn't really matter how thick your leader is, but it can matter if it's plastic coated or not. And it's hard to get coated single strand wire. So you can coat it yourself, honestly. That's not hard. Just get some shrink tubing in the right size, and there you go. Yeah, I know if the shark can bite through this stuff. I know they can. That's why, I like to keep strand to be as thick as possible. And I have two, and yeah, the two like I said, the two cables I go is 19 strand up to 2.5 millimeters and 49 strand up to 3.5, maybe even 4 millimeters. So that would be what? An eighth of an inch or so would be like the the thickest cable I use, and yeah, the thickest cable of the 19th strand would actually be literally 1/10 of an inch. It would be zero point 0.1 inch thickness. That would be the thickest I go with the 19th strand. Any higher and the stuff just gets too thick and your hooks won't work properly anymore. You ever think about commercial fishing again? Only for invasive species. If there would be if there is a species that needs to that is a good like lionfish, but they're not that fun to catch unless you like spearfishing. I don't think I want to be commercial fishing for species that are already on the decline or whatever. And it would have to be rotten real commercial fishing. So only if it serves some sort of conservation purpose, I think. You'll be fine. The circle hook will be outside the mouth anyway. I know. But I like to be ready for that 1% chance that it doesn't work. But yeah, that is also a reason why I do not want to use a cable or wire that is too stiff. If the circle hook cannot turn properly, then I will get less corner hookups and less hookups generally. So I don't think it's worth going super heavy cable that is 100% bite proof, just because then your hooks won't work properly anymore with the circle hooks at least. So for that reason, I don't like going ultra heavy. But yeah. Anyways, Matster, too stiff, not good. No, Jeff, too thick and too stiff and too thick in combination isn't good. If it's thin enough, it doesn't really seem to matter. But if it's really thick and really stiff, that's too much together. Yes, you heard me correctly, Jamie. It is a thickness and stiffness in combination. I said what I said. I'll stand by it. Have all the dirty faults you want, Jamie. And the thing is, I'm literally just talking about fishing, I'm not talking about anything else. I'm really not. I love my innuendos, but in this case, it's not. It's not even in window. Ah. Does this hook want to turn? Kind of, but not really. If I shrink this down, will it then work or will it still not work? I don't think it will. It won't. No, 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 no. This is another one where we can undo with the crimp job. Because I found a better way since I've done this leader. Fishing all the way. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Jamie. You've got that one right. Right. Another thing I might want to buy for my leaders are some copper ferrules. Not crimps, but actual ferrules. This is a beautiful crimp connection. It really is. But I just there is better ways to connect this than crimping it. This is how a crimp connection should look, though. If this was a swivel, this would be perfect, and I wouldn't dream of undoing it. But it's a $15 hook, or actually like $16 to $18 hook, a 15 euro hook. So the hook is worth a lot more than that connection. Cheers. Best hook there is for giant sharks. I mean, there's maybe one that could be better for very specific, even more giant sharks, but that's a different story. Cheers. But today we're not really here to build leaders. We're here to do some cleanup and sorting out. And we have two untied H16O BKs now, so that's good. Beautiful hooks. Beautiful beastly hooks. And of course, we've got big boy leaders like this one here. This is one that I'll be dropping probably myself for some Greenland sharks. No matter how it's turned, it always wants to catch. Yeah, baby. And I also want to see how long it takes before I see corrosion, because this is galvanized. It's not stainless steel. It's coated galvanized. So, because there was no stainless steel cables available in the country I was at where I built this leader. There weren't even proper crimps available, so this isn't crimped. So I want to see how long these connections last. I do trust them to not break, but I don't know how long it'll take till I see corrosion. Because if like, yeah, and And galvanized cable is actually harder to bite through than stainless. Earrings, yes. Yes, master. Imagine having a rolled up shark leader as an earring. Here's one leader that would be ready to ship for Herky for Sturgeon, by the way. This would be his mono 2mm 19 strand catch all. This is like this would be like the cheapest rig that I built. One of the cheapest ones I built for him. This is a pulley rig made for casting, and yeah, nice one. Here's my in the 133 strand 1mm cable. Let's get this packed up. Because right now we don't need it. Where is the thing to close this off? Oh, let's just use this. And you know Glacier Shark. So the whole reason why I want to separate myself with the leaders I built from pretty much everyone else. Like my leaders have to be like, they have to be ready for those 5% of the time where you might get bitten off. They have to be ready for that. They have to clearly be superior to anything on the market, while still delivering not unparalleled, or the best possible hookup ratios. Hookup ratios on par or above any other leader, and they have to be as capable or more capable than anything else. Which is also why I'll be rebuilding a couple rigs. I might even rebuild this rig for Herky for Sturgeon, just to be that extra have that extra couple percent. Because I really want, because there's already enough quality leaders out there. But I have some techniques and ideas that will make mine superior. Even though it might be a superiority that doesn't matter most of the time. But yeah, it still should be not just another good leader that'll do the job, but something that isn't out there. Something that when in the situations where it does matter will outperform all the other leaders out there. That is like the standards I set on for myself. Because well, I'm me, and also, also just from a business perspective, of course, I need to have something that makes my gear special. Let's say. I will also eventually do some coated single strand leaders for single strand pants, but I don't know if I'll be fishing them myself. Superior techniques. He'll have to record catching with them. Yes, I know, I know. That is also why I want my leaders for Hurton for Sturgeon to be top of the line, even if he doesn't care, because he will film himself shark fishing with those. He'll catch some monsters with my leaders. So yeah. And actually, I'll ask him if he's okay if I build him sturgeon leaders too. I know he just wants me to send the hooks, but if he just tells me what kind of leaders he likes for sturgeons, I would like to send him pre-made leaders with no extra charge. So he can also tell people after he catches fish on them that was on a leader I made. Because that'll be good publicity for me. So yeah. Put your stamp on the packaging, made in Germany. That'll get some sales too. Maybe. I mean, Germany isn't exactly known for shark fishing, though, is it? Yeah. Here's an old conger rig that I still have. That'll still catch. So no need to redo it. That'll catch congered moray eels, no problem. Even though I would build it differently nowadays, it's still a good leader. And it's not built different in a way that will affect performance. Yes, we're talking about performance, Jenny. Get over it. But yeah, I will that eels are vengeful fellers. They are. And I like to catch man-sized eels. My biggest eel so far, and they grow a lot bigger than what I've caught. But hey, it was from shore, so that is still not bad. Was as big as my father, not as big as me. I'm a little bit taller than my dad, like about this much, but it was the same length as my father's tall. And of course, I could have, if I would have it up, stretched out, it would have been as long, probably longer than I am tall. Because if you hang a eel like that, it'll stretch out and actually get longer. But I didn't. I measured it laying on the ground. Like I said, if I would have hung it up, it would have been longer than I am tall. Almost certainly, because it would stretch probably like this much. But that's not really fair or accurate now, is it? So yeah, I didn't say anything. Not yet. Not yet. Anyway. Yeah, and we'll also build a couple more leaders with these hooks for sure. Anywho. Hmm. You know what, Smutty? Now I'm thinking if there would be a way for me to, when I have the hot shrink tube to stretch. Okay, I'll stretch for you, Chef Jemmy. Happy? Glacier Shark, close your eyes. Too late, I think. Too late. And yeah, this hook is also sharpened. That's gonna be another thing. I will never send a leader out with a dull hook. If the hook isn't properly sharp out of the box, I'll redo it. Actually, wait, do I have some of the. No, okay, don't have the 20 in here. So those 20 here's a proper hook. Nah, I don't know if I'll ever be using these hooks, to be honest. But yeah, if I find my 20 catch-all tackle circle hooks, I'll just resharpen a few of them real quick. Anyway, here's a ready to fish leader. Here's a ready to fish eel rig. And there is actually a German company with which I want to which if they can get make me decent prices, I will use them as a source for my cables in the future. Because they have some really good stuff. And it'll probably also so not be the worst marketing part. Being able to say all cables made in Germany from from IC 316 marine grade stainless steel. Yeah. Is this 2 millimeter or 2.5? This looks like 2.5 actually. I think it is 2.5. It is. It is. This is 2.5. Maybe could make a leader for sturgeon out of this, but honestly, I think it's might be too long for sturgeon's leaders. We'll see. Maybe not. I mean, it will be shortened this much. Eh, I don't know. We'll see. We'll just Yeah, here's our 2 millimeter 49 strand. This is what I would use for like small cast out shark rigs, where I'm only going to use like 10-0 hooks. Because I think with my new method of attachment, actually, let's try that out. Let's try that out, shall we? I think we shall. Let's do a model shark rig. This stuff on a 10-0 hook, this is still like 400 pound, 500 pound cable, something in that realm. But actually, let's use one of the smaller swivels, or not. Actually, no, because this big swivel will be easier to grab, and yeah, that's another reason to use a big one. Yes, we're talking about big stuff, Jeremy. Get a grip. No, you didn't say anything, but I know you. A grip on what? On the thick, stiff cable. Never too long. People love German quality all over, all except Volkswagen. Yeah. I mean, even those are still known as pretty decent cars. Usually. They don't like have a bad, quote unquote, bad. They just might not have a great reputation. All right, connection done. Now we can work on our other connection. Let's see, do I have, no, I don't. You don't have something to use as a parallel, do I? Nope. That's okay. It's just a prototype, even though we will be built using this prototype in actual life. Okay, where the hell did I put my 10 circle? Did I put it in here? Where I should have put it? These 12 also are going to be fired. Well, then let's do our test even wildly. Let's see if even an 8-0 is still going to work on this size table. So if that works, then I'm mindful of it. Oh, here's our. Never mind. Let's first try the 10-0. That 911 reliability on par with Toyota. What's wrong with Toyota? Or 911, you mean the Porsche? Since they were bought by Volkswagen or what? Okay, where's our right wire? I know where I know what I put it on, but no, not where I put it, unfortunately. Here, okay. Well, yeah, I know. Out of all the big German brands, Volkswagen is probably the less. Car brands, at least, Volkswagen is the least renowned. I mean, the best out of the German brands, I would say the best, which I would call like a working class car, would be the Mercedes. Because over here, at least, that's not they're not like a fancy, expensive brand. They're like right in the middle. They're like a middle class car brand. Like most taxis are Mercedes by, for example, or Mercedes, how it's properly pronounced. Yeah, this will be so much easier and quicker once I have a drill to do this with. 1, 2, 3. That's good enough. It's also interesting how different car brands have wildly different images across different countries. The higher end you go, I think, the less reliable, more and more electronics and features to grade. True, true. Like a good Volkswagen Golf or Volkswagen Golf. I mean, that is a car that is, it's just a good car for general use. Okay, this hook, it's starting to already get too stiff. Yes, Jamie, I said what I said. Well, actually, well, you do need to properly tighten this. It would be like this now. Nah, it doesn't have, okay, my material is too stiff for a hook this size. I mean, if I give it some more room to work its magic, then it does work. So, but this would be like a maybe, not a definite yes. And of course, it also always depends. The older cars tend to be more reliable too. But of course, they do have less fancy features. But yeah, that's always a trade-off. All right. If we shrink this on here, is this going to change the performance? Nah, this is just too stiff. It doesn't have the weight to turn. So this cable will work on 12 ohms, but it won't work on 10 ohms. I mean, yes, it can work if you give it enough room to work, but you cannot really guarantee that. So, yeah. It looks pretty, but yeah. Why you keep wiping my face? I don't keep. What do you mean? I also don't know if I want to know, honestly. Okay, if I give it like this much freedom, it still doesn't have the weight to turn. But this much is enough? This is enough? Not really, no. Okay. Yeah, on a 10-0, we have to go a bit thinner on the table to make it 100% a sure hookup. Of course, if hookups aren't a problem, but bite-offs are, this would still be a valid option, but it's not going to go into my general arsenal. With a 12-0, though, it will. Anyway, folks, too stiff. Oh, yes. Anyway, it's time for me to make something to eat. So have a good one. I'll be live on my workout channel on Dundee in the gym or at Gym Dundee. Peace.